Hey third graders, here is your video for the week. We're going to start with Monday. This week you have your test on Wednesday, so we're going to do some review leading up to your test. So what you have for today is a rainy day worksheet. This worksheet is just a fun little worksheet to practice adding. It has little clouds and then you solve the problem inside the cloud. So it's really cute. So let's practice just a couple and then I'm going to let you guys do your rainy day worksheet. So let's try something like 176 plus 325. And we're going to practice regrouping with our addition problems, and then we're going to practice again on Tuesday, have a test Wednesday. So we start in our ones column. 6 plus 5 is 11. Put my 1, carry my 1. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. Put my 0, carry my 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So we get 501. Okay, let's do one like this. 475 plus 306. Start in our ones column. 6 plus 5 is 11. Put your 1, carry your 1. 7 plus 1 is 8. Now, since 8 is a one-digit number, there's nothing to carry, so I stop right there. Don't carry anything, and then do the final column. 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 is 7, so we get 781. Okay, so I'm going to write a couple things down for you to remember. I know that the adding has been going on forever, and you're probably so tired of adding, but let's look real quick. The one thing I want you to remember is to carry your ones. You have to remember to carry your ones. If you don't, you'll get the whole problem wrong. One little number can mess you up. Another thing I want you to remember is to take your time. Please take your time doing it. Make sure that everything is done right. Make sure that you carried your numbers. Make sure you added everything correctly. And if you do that, you should be A-okay. So today you're going to do your rainy day worksheet. Your homework is going to be workbook page 28. Okay, so that's all for Monday. Take your time, double check everything. Sometimes it helps if you do it twice. Then you're going to work on workbook 28, and that's just more practice of adding 3 numbers. And then tomorrow we'll go into review. All right, so this is your Tuesday video. Today we're going to do review. We're going to be on page 40 and 41 in your hardback book. And we're going to look at numbers 1 through 4, 10, 11, 14, 15, 22, 23, and 25. So a bunch of different numbers because I pick and choose between which ones we're going to do. Remember, we're skipping partial sums and we're skipping estimating. So let's get on that page together and let's look at it. Now let me talk you through some of them before you actually go on to these. So let's look at page number 40. The first one you're going to do is 1 through 4. So let's look at these. These are the addition properties. So when we did these, we did them kind of quickly, so let's review. If you have something plus a 0, so say you have 17 plus 0, that's going to be identity property. Remember, anything plus 0 gives you the same answer as your first add-in. So an add-in plus 0 equals the same as that first add-in. That's identity property. So this 0 right here is going to be identity property. Remember, commutative property is where we can switch the order. Changing the order of the add-ins does not change the sum. So that's when I can say 6 plus 7 equals 7 plus 6. It means the same thing. For your test, you're going to need to know the definitions. So if you don't know the definitions, make sure you know them so you can match them on your test. So this is commutative, and all we did is change the order. Associative property is if I have something like 36 plus 23 plus 4, it equals the same as 36 plus 23 plus 4. All I did there was switch around the parentheses. So if you look at parentheses, letting that be your key right there, look at those. When you see those, it is most of the time associative. Sometimes they'll try to trick you and switch up the numbers. In that case, it's commutative. But for our case, I'm just going to give you associative with these parentheses. So when you see parentheses, think associative. When you see a 0, think identity. And when the numbers are just switched on both sides, it's commutative. Make sure you know your definitions. For numbers 10 through 11, you're going to skip 10 to 11. Let's not do that one. Skip 10 and 11. I know on your sheet I sent home it does say 10 and 11, but that's estimating, so let's skip that. 14 and 15, also estimating, so let's skip that too. Then let's go on to 22, 23. I'm actually going to make that a little bit more, so I'm going to erase this. Since we're going to skip this, let's do a little bit more adding. So let's do 22 through 26 to practice that adding. And then let's do 35 through 37. There we go. So let's add more to this since we took away the estimating. I didn't read it properly. I thought it was just rounding. So let's do 22 through 26, just adding, 35 through 37, adding 3 add-ins. So after 1 through 4, everything else is just adding, okay? So make sure you change that on the sheet I gave you, and make sure that you double check your work and you study because your test is tomorrow. All right, so this is our Wednesday video. Today you have a test, so this will be a pretty short day. Make sure that you studied your addition properties. You'll have to match the definition to the property and then also match the property to an example of that property. After that, everything else is just adding. There is no estimating. So do not estimate on anything. I made this test myself. This is not one like last time. So it should be more simple for you. It's just straight adding. I just want to know that you can add. There's also some word problems I want you to do on there. Make sure that you read each one of them carefully. Let's actually go over one real quick that I want you to look at before you start. So I'm going to clear this. Let's look at one together before you do your your test, because I want you to make sure you understand what you're doing. So let's look. Give me just a second to flip that. One you did on your homework the other night. Look at you did one on your homework that I want you to look at. All right, so in your hardback book, I'm looking at page 33, number 29. This is the exact same one that's going to be on your test today. Tom scores 317 points in his first game. All right, so his first game, 317 points. In his second game, he scores 28 more points. So I'm going to put a plus 28 than he did in the first game. How many points did he score in all? So we can't just add 317 plus 28. That you do first. If you add 317 plus 28, that'll tell you how many he scored in the second game. Then add that number to his first game number. That'll give you your in all number, okay? So some of these you have to read really, really carefully to make sure you're understanding all parts of the question. So double check all of them. Make sure that you're reading all parts of the word problem. Also make sure that at the end of your word problem answers, you have a unit of measurement. So when I write my answer for that one, I would write the answer and then I would write the word points. It wants to know how many points he scored, so points needs to be in my answer. Okay? So take your time on your test, do it very, very carefully, don't rush through it, and I will see you guys for Thursday's video. All right, Thursday video. Today we're going to start something new, and it's kind of new. It might not be new to some of you. We're going to be on page 49. This is in your hardback book. 48 and 49, actually. So page 48 and 49. This is all about addition and subtraction and how you check your addition and your subtraction work. If you remember back to first and second grade, you did something called fact families. This is the same thing. So if I said 3 plus 2 equals 5, I can check that by saying 5 minus 2 equals 3. Or 5 minus 3 equals 2. Both of those are ways to check. The other part of this fact family would be to switch it around, our commutative property. So these are what you would have done in maybe first or second grade. Now we're going to take it a little bit further and check our work. So look at page 48. It says this year 535 people participate in a charity run. Only 104 of the people compete in the timed run. How many runners are not timed? So for how many runners are not timed, you would need to subtract. So it gives you two little parts under that. They have a little diamond next to them. The first one says you know the whole and one of the parts. So we have part plus whole. So I'm going to erase this and we can write that out in your notes. So what they give you is something called part plus part equals the whole thing. If I have a pizza that's 8 slices, I could have 4 parts plus 4 parts equals the whole pizza, 8 slices. You can write an addition equation and a related subtraction equation. So we have something plus something equals something. That's your regular addition equation. We know that 535 people were in the race. We know that 104 people were timed. So this number right here is not timed. So to figure that out, we would subtract 535 minus 104. When we subtract that, 5 minus 4 is 1, 3 minus 0 is 3, and 5 minus 1 is 4. So the number that goes here is 431. You can work backwards to figure out the answers. It says addition and subtraction are inverse operations. Inverse operations undo each other. So write that down. I'm going to erase this real quick. You can rewind it if you need to write the rest of that down if you don't have it. So addition and subtraction are inverse operations. They undo each other. So when you are trying to check your addition work, you can check it by doing subtraction. If you want to check your subtraction, you can check it by doing addition. They are almost like opposites, but they're called inverse. Inverse is an important vocabulary word you need to know. They undo each other. So what you'll do in these kind of sections is you'll take these numbers, and if it says to add them, you add them. To check it, you do the opposite. So let's practice some right here. So let's do one like this. 375 plus 501. They tell me to add, so that's what I'm going to do first. 5 plus 1 is 6. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 5 plus 3 is 8. So I get 876. To check it, I would take these two numbers and subtract. So what I would do here is say 876 minus 501. Always put your bigger number on top. Then I would subtract 6 minus 1 is 5, 7 minus 0 is 7, and 8 minus 5 is 3. If I get that top answer, then I'm right. Okay, so it's almost like the fact families we started with. You do what they tell you to do, you add it up, then you subtract these bottom two numbers, and you should end up with the other number. Okay, so let's try another one. You can subtract either one of them. You just have to make sure when you subtract that your sum is on top because that's your bigger answer. So let's do 222 plus 404. We do what they tell us to do first, which was add. So 4 plus 2 is 6. 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. So let's take these two and subtract them. 626 on top because it's biggest, minus 404. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. So I got that answer, so I know it's correct. Okay? Let's try a different one with subtraction this time. And you don't have to draw this arrow like I'm doing, that's just to show you. So let's do one like this. 559 minus 422. This time they give us subtraction first. So 9 minus 2 is 7. 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. So to check this time I add these two numbers. So since we did subtraction here, I want to add these two to get that 559. So we can come to the side and add it up and see if that works. So we add 422 plus 137. Remember, it doesn't matter which one's on top when you add. 7 plus 2 is 9. 3 plus 2 is 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's correct. So if you want to put a little check mark beside it, you can. And that tells you that your answer was correct. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'll let you work on some by yourself. They're kind of fun once you get started. It's almost like solving a little puzzle. Or I think so, at least. So let's do one. 836 minus 825. Remember, it's super important when you're doing this that you're copying it down correctly. 6 minus 5 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 8 minus 8 is 0. I can put that 0, but you don't really have to. You can just put 11. So since we subtracted, let's add these two to check. 825 plus 11. 5 plus 1 is 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. 8 plus 0 is 8. So 836, and that's correct. So what you're going to do today is page 49 in your hardback book, numbers 7 through 11, and your homework is workbook page 35. Okay, so that's it for right now. Tomorrow we have something fun. All right, Friday's video. Today we're going to switch things up and we're going to do something different. Every Friday from now until November, we're going to look at some election math. The presidential election is going to be held on November 3rd. It's always the first Tuesday of November, and it happens every 4 years. So the last time it happened was 2016. Now it's 2020, and we're going to have another presidential election. So we're going to do some fun things with math to learn about the election. We are going to have a mock election or a fake election where we vote between Captain America and Harry Potter. So we have two characters we're going to vote for. We're going to learn about our candidates. We're going to learn about how they campaign. We're going to learn about what a president does. We're going to learn about a lot of things. So when we vote, you always have to be registered to vote. Adults have to register to vote, and you can be 18 to register. So today you're going to register to vote. You're going to fill out your voter registration. And then what I'm going to do is take your voter registration and make you a voter registration card. So when you bring this back to me on Friday, I will have your card ready in a couple weeks. That card is going to be what you use to make your vote. So you're going to do that today, and then you're also going to do your election math worksheet. This one is fun. So on this worksheet, it has facts about the election process and the history behind it. So you read each fact, and in your fact, it'll have numbers. So I might have something like 77 minus 75, and that'll be in the middle of your sentence. You'll solve that using, there's a little bank on the side that has all the numbers. When you solve that equation that's in the middle, that'll tell you what number goes in that blank. So for example, I just told you that when you're 18, you're allowed to vote. So if I said 20 minus 2, you would tell me that's 18. And it has a little, almost like a word bank, but with numbers on the side. So these two things are going to be what you're doing today. And then next week, we're going to do some more fun stuff with it. So make sure you register to vote and you fill out your election math worksheet. Have a good weekend, and let me know if you have any questions.